The Great Basin is unique in and of itself, and the gold in the Great Basin is a little bit different and a little bit um, out of the ordinary. And like I said in earlier videos, you have to set aside some of the things you know about prospecting and finding gold once you get here. The difference between here and the rest of the western United States is that the Great Basin sits in the middle of the western states. All the western states have alluvial deposits. These alluvial deposits, I aren't going to explain them other than to say that it's a decomposed layer of rock, a decomposing mountain that disseminated and spread out over a big area, like a big clamshell. You know, it's just a big wide area, and then erosion cuts into these and reconcentrates that primary alluvium into secondary alluvium. Now, what we have here is the result of the big flood. Now, this was an alluvial deposit, a big clamshell spreading out. But when the big, and I'm going to call it the big kerflush, because when I say flooding in the Great Basin, you think of the water rising and swamping everything, and that is not the kind of flood that this was. This is the anti-flood, or the opposite of a flood, but it's still referred to as a flood. Now, we've had some rain lately, and this is a really good drainage that runs through here. And I'm going to take you down into this. This is the results of the flood that washed through here and scoured everything to bedrock. Okay, this is a very sensitive area. This is an area that has never been claimed by anybody for mineral purposes. I've done the research. I've looked into claiming it. I am purposely not going. I could stake a claim here. This is BLM ground. This is federal ground, 100%. And you could stake this. But there is a lot of environmental and archaeological sensitive stuff in here that they will not permit any mining of any kind of disturbance here. So here you can see what we have here is everything has been scoured down to the bedrock. And these big rocks have been pushed around up and down. I'm taking you over to a place where I found a really good gold deposit. Did you see that? Let's back up and take a look at this little cluster right here. You don't want to step on them. There's ancient Indian artifacts around here. There's hieroglyphics around here. This is a natural good place. This is naturally a good place for Native Americans or anyone to take shelter, natural shelter. And right here, you see all these chips or flakes. These are flakes. This is where they flaked Indians or cavemen. Oh, here we go. These are flakes for tool making. Somebody sat here out of the wind, out of the weather. See how they're all sharp? They sat here and they made tools. There's flakes everywhere here. for when they did tool making. Now, I imagine hunters have used this over the years. In fact, I do see evidence like this right here of this saw cut piece of wood. And there's another piece. And hunters know about this place. For sure they do. Because they come up here and they camp and they shoot record elk out of here. We are very close to a government area that is restricted, a national park, you might say. Yeah, we're very close to the Great Basin National Park. Oh boy, look at that one. Just teetering. So when the big kerflush happened, let's get back to that. All of this was buried. All of this was under the alluvium. All of this material, everything you see here, was at one time buried under hundreds of feet of gravel, right? And when the big kerflush happened, you have to think of it as your toilet bowl. The Great Basin was like your toilet bowl basin, in that it filled up with water over thousands and thousands of years. And then one day, somebody pulled the lever and the big kerflush happened. And when that happened, standing still water began to move at a very high rate of speed. Just like when you flush the toilet, by the time that last little bit of water goes down the drain, it's moving at a very high velocity, very high speed. So the Lake Bonneville, wow, I don't remember it being this hard to get up there. I'm taking you up to the Gold Vein, right back up behind these trees. God, I don't remember it being this tough. Let me go this way. Yeah, this is the way I went before. I didn't want to crawl on all fours. Ooh. There's bats or birds or something living in here. Crapping on the walls. Oh my gosh, yeah, there it is, way up there. Wow. All right, wait a minute. Okay, I'm perched against this tree. And my really good spot is up there, but I've never tried to hike up there with gear, and today I have gear. So I'm going to go to the very first spot. This is the first spot that I sampled and found good positive results that brought me back up here to get more sampling. And at the end of the video, I'm going to process this material I'm collecting today and show you the results. So this is 21st century mining now that we live in the great world of technology. You notice all the dark staining in these rocks. That's mineralization that's been leaching out of the heavily mineralized areas like this right here. This right here, see, it's solid in here. This is quartzite. This is the mineralization. This is leaching out of it. You see it throughout this rock. Now this rock in and of itself is not high enough concentration to be a viable ore, right? This is quartzite, but it's all, oh geez, look at that one. Okay, hopefully it's been there thousands of years. Yeah, this host rock isn't strong enough to yield any profitable results. But when you specifically come into these mineralized zones, well, now these do have good results. So I'm going to set up and show you how you take samples right here in the 21st century. Okay, new from DeWalt, and by the way, I'm not a paid endorsement from DeWalt company. This is just, they happen to sell what I need. So that's what I bought. I'm going to do a little product review, which I'm sure is going to be good because I have a lot of DeWalt stuff and I have been happy with it. I've had good results with my DeWalt equipment. But this is cool. This is made for construction, and it's I don't know if you can even see it. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is construction equipment, and it's a hammer drill, and we got the battery pack, right? And we're gonna hammer drill, so you can adjust that on the side. Now, here's the real cool thing. We're gonna take deep samples. So I'm gonna put a deep bit in, and that, you pull that collar back. Okay, so you've all seen hammer drills, no big deal. But what DeWalt did for, I feel it's for confined spaces, because the plumbers and the electricians are always doing retrofitting and rewiring and remodeling, and they come against foundation walls and concrete walls, and now they're in existing construction, they're in a very confined space, and they have no alternative than to sit there and endure the dust and problems that it creates for your lungs when you use these. So they have this. This is a vacuum. This, let me see if I got it. Am I getting, okay, yeah, this one right there. There you go. So that's got a PTO. Let's see. Okay. So there's a PTO off the bottom of the drill that runs a fan system, and you have a collection box, and then once you're full of your cement dust, then you take that off, right? And then you go empty, instead of breathing all that dust. This thing's going to kick up a lot of dust, right? Okay, then you open that. It's got a HEPA filter, and then boom, you empty your concrete dust. Well, this is a rock sample. This is now an assay drill. It's not a construction hammer. This will pulverize your material and break it down to where you can pan it right on site, on location. It's your rock crusher and everything all in one. It'll extract the material, process it, and all that. Now, I'm going to reset the camera so you can watch me drill some holes. Okay, so it's all together and ready to go. And what you got here is a little dust barrier that will vacuum material in here and deposit it down there. And I think I've got a good spot right there. I'm going to pull samples out of it. So we'll set this up maybe right over here and see if that shows up. Let's see, I'm going to be shooting right up there. Okay. probably work better with a shorter bit. So I'll just change that because I'm not getting this vacuum in close enough to the material. It's too far back to draw it in. But luckily I brought a shorter bit. Yeah, oh, there it is. There's a good one. Okay. Yeah, I think if I go with a little shorter bit, I'll get better results. To be honest, this is the first time I've used this, other than to fart around at the house, drilling rocks. Yeah, there we go. See, it's better if you have that very close to the bit. So we'll try it again. Let's see. Okay, it's tough to find a flat spot to put that camera. I don't know if it'll be on screen or not, but it's pointed over here. I can't look through it, but I just Okay, why don't you turn your sound down? I hauled earmuffs all the way up here, and they're doing great in the bag down here. Okay. I got my earmuff, even yellow to match. And that's it. That battery's done. that didn't last long. This thing draws a lot of power, so bring lots of batteries. Wow, look at that. That would have been a good spot to drill right up in there. Look at that. That's a tall reach though. Anyway, I'm gonna get this stuff back down to the bottom, and I'm gonna need both hands. But what a cool place. What a cool hiding place. But kind of scary too. I can imagine in the Old West the bank robber gangs, you know, the gangs hiding out in a place like this, or the Indians, you know, taking it over. Some people have said that know about this place say this is a ancient Indian burial grounds. That's why they won't ever allow any type of mining activity over here, or any kind of development, or, you know, if you know, I probably couldn't probably do any more disturbance than this. You could pick up rocks out here. You could do a little sample holes like this, but if you come in here and start doing major moving a lot of tonnage, really making an impact, you know, this is not considered a great impact. This is a minimal impact, and they determine what impact is, the size of your impact. So this is never be able to commercially mine this, but there is some really high grade streaks in this black stuff up in here. And it just goes to say that not all the good spots have been found and mined out. If this was an area they would permit, this could be commercially mined, probably at a good profit. But it's more important as an environmental or archaeological site than any kind of gold that it would yield to help the economy, which is why they permit mining to begin with, is to help the economy. All right, I'm going to have to shut off, and I'll get back down to the bottom and look around there. Okay, so I was way back up in there, and I'm going to take you down into the bottom now. And what's really amazing to me when I walk in here is you see how the water has worn the rock, has created these little very smooth channels. And oh, if there was any gold, there's a natural catch right there, and here and here. And you see how worn smooth. I mean, it's like it's been worked with tools. But wait till you see what's down here. This is an amazing place. I love coming up here. I like to come out at least once a year, but 2 or 3 times. Now, I brought my metal detector in here, and so far I found 3 things. I found 3 buried boxes, but they didn't have anything in them other than one of the bottoms were rotted out, except for one of them, and one of them had cloth in it, like somebody had folded up an important piece of cloth, and that was all that was in it. I'll see if I can find the spots where I dug those up. But people have hid stuff in here, and wow, what a great place to hide stuff. Yeah. These rocks are all smooth. Look at the wear on that. It's just smooth as can be. And look at this. Look at how and is that a glory hole right there? Because there is gold in this area. Definitely gold up in this area. And I'm not the first prospector that's found this place. but it is off the beaten trail. It's not easy to get to. It's loaded with rattlesnakes too. Did I tell you that? You got to watch out for rattlesnakes when you're on this kind of rocky ground. But we just had a lot of rain. This is another channel. So I walked in one, and it has another one here that comes together. There's been big flash flooding. You see how coarse and angular, and then just smooth as can be. Now look at this. Look at that gutter. This is one of the coolest finds up here in the canyon. It's just a bobsled run. It's a little mini bobsled. Let me see if I can throw something up there. I mean, look at where it's been pounding. Boom, 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 just smashing into the same spot. Oh, I threw it too high. Could that be a glory hole? A waterfall? A plunge pool? And look at this big nasty ready to fall just on the point. I mean, literally sitting like a big top, sitting right here on this point, ready to fall over and clobber me. This place is, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's scary. I mean, if that big guy decided to, you know, a piece of the cliff could fall away beneath it, tumbling that right down here. Just like that big crack opened up right over there, like that's ready to just slough at no warning. So I'm going to stay a little closer to this open area, but getting down here is a little sketchy. So there's big waterfall over here, because there's multiple channels now that when this flash floods, it comes through here in many directions. Now I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but boy, look at that thing sparkling in the sun. That is just lit up with mineralization. That's a piece of quartzite material. So you know, just, you know, even if it was legal and they would give you permits to mine in here, do whatever you want, the logistics, just the remoteness, it just only could be worked by hand unless you had, you know, you bring a really big excavator in here and just destroy everything. I mean, how could you ever reclaim it? I don't want to go down there. I forgot the regular trail. It's too close to them big rocks. Okay. Yeah, look at the weathering. Just everything's just as smooth as a baby's butt. tell you what, if I wanted to hide something, I would think about hiding it back here. You know, the geocaching. Yeah, that's a rough one. That'd be a rough climb. I'm filming as I go down because there's no way I'm going to be able to climb out of here, without using hands. So there's a really cool spot down in the bottom. Okay, this looks like one of the places that I metal detected and I got hit. And I dug up, they were like round metal cans. I want to say coffee cans, but they weren't coffee cans. They were older than that. And they were held together with lead. Because it survived the deterioration. The lead used to hold the can together. But it was like right around in here. Like right behind one of these rocks, right over by that tree. I just spent days down here with the metal detector and barely touched it. I just metal detected areas that looked like they would be a good place to hide something. And I think right there, right there, under that, next to that tree, between that tree and that rock, I think that's where I dug one of them out. I know the other one was way over there. This is really wide. This goes for probably 75 or 80 yards wide now. This is really, we were in the pinch point up there. It's like a funnel. We came through the narrow spot and now it fans out and the whole thing is like this. And this is due to that flooding. This is what happened when they flushed the toilet up in Idaho and all that water left the Great Basin at once. Now it's been estimated that the volume of water in Lake Bonneville was 93,000 cubic miles of water, the cubic miles of water. And that all drained, creating, well, it didn't create it as much as reestablish it or deepen it. The Snake River Gorge up by Twin Falls, the one Evel Knievel jumped over. And you can see the scour line against the canyon walls when that flood came through. So that canyon was established, but then when the flood came through with all the rocks and debris, it kind of sandblasted it and scoured it. And it's about 90 feet above the current water level right now. So the only way this could have happened is from this flooding, removing all that material around that boulder all at once. God, that is too steep to go down. I'll tell you what, I'm being very careful because I'm by myself. And if I was to have something happen, there's no cell phone service here. And there is nobody ever going to think to look here for me. There is going to be no help for me if I should somehow become incapacitated, slip, fall, hit my head. So I am being very cautious. And that's why I'm not going to try to carry the camera back up out of here. So I'm giving you the ride down to show you the evidence of the giant kerflush. Now, up until the big kerflush, we're at the bottom. This is it. We're down here on at the bottom step. We've hit the other plane. Now bedrock's disappeared. Now everything's going underground here. Everything's getting deep. This is the floodplain where all the sand and sediment has washed out of. But still, you know, revealing a lot of big rocks. So, up until the big Kerflush, up until there was two natural mountains up in Idaho that the water level exceeded and went over the top. Let me go find a shady spot to sit down. Oh, how's that look? Okay, so up until the big Kerflush, the Great Basin, Lake Bonneville, was an inland sea, and it had alluvial deposits, decomposing rock, basically melting down and being eroded away into a big alluvial deposit spread out for miles and miles. And just like up in the Bering Sea, up there in Nome where they dredge offshore, the wave action and the storms had an effect on that alluvium, and that's the action that wore the alluvium down and released the gold. So the primary alluvium is of a low grade, but the secondary alluvium is concentrated primary alluvium, and that is well worth mining. And that is the material that's sitting on top of the seabed or combined into the seabed. It's just like mining up there in Nome, except now the water's gone. Okay, the water's all gone, so you don't have to dredge, and you can actually see the bottom. Now the wave action concentrated the gold back and forth, just like against the beach line, just like up in Nome, and the beach line was constantly changing, raising most of the time. Now, when the big Kerflush happened, it all drained at once, and it scoured things. It scoured this. It took all this. This was hundreds of feet under gravel. This was underneath the alluvium. This was the bedrock. And when that current came through here and it went down that step, just like going off a little waterfall, you know, that hydraulic pressure just boiled this entire side of this upheaval and created what we're looking at here. And it boiled that material, and if you look on the satellite maps, it carried it about 45 miles in that direction. You can see where this has been washed out. This whole area is like I say, it's a big funnel that all came through here, and then as soon as it hit the flat ground, it fanned out into another alluvial deposit. And there is alluvial deposit out there, but it's really fine gold and not worth mining, you know, not economical at this point in time. Perhaps generations in the future will be able to economically mine these huge alluvial deposits of fine gold once the technology catches up. They're certainly able to move huge amounts of dirt now with, you know, individually. You know, as far as what one man can, how many tons can one man move in a day in one of these, you know, giant heavy equipment. And that's what it'll take, the technology to catch up. Maybe it'll be 50 or 100 years, and they'll be able to mine that floodplain out there and mine and recover that gold. But no one's ever going to mine back here because the Indians used it, Native Americans, and there's too many artifacts. I'm not going to show any of the hieroglyphics or stuff like that. I don't want people to come out here and try to find this place. But I'll do some more videos on it in the future. I'm going to have my friend Carl the Crusher, who is got a lot of knowledge about these ancient Indian places. I'm going to be taking him over here. He'll be the first person I've ever taken here personally, but because of his insights and knowing about the cultures and the period, be interesting to see, his opinion or ideas on what he thinks of this place. So this is evidence of the big kerflush, and that all up and down this range, there's alluvial deposits, and they were first deposited the conventional way, just by the mountain disseminating in place, and then unlike other alluvial deposits throughout the West, the Great Basin alluvial deposits had the wave action working on them, which you didn't have that in Montana, or many places in California and Arizona. They weren't part of the Great Basin. So those alluvial deposits, especially like Colorado's got a lot of alluvial deposits, they never had any wave action working on their alluvial deposits. So somebody who's mined alluvial and knows all about it will come over here and stumble and make mistakes based on what they know about alluvial deposits, because everything got changed at the end when the water current hit everything. It took all the gold that was being reconcentrated, and it reconcentrated it again, and it left some places barren of gold and other places with very high grade streaks. And then there's areas where bedrock was near the surface and you don't have the deep layers of seabed. So there's a lot of variables to it, and I know that's why you're watching. That's the numbers don't lie. I mean, people want to know how to find the gold out here, and I'm gonna explain more about it. Now this is just the tip of the iceberg. So once you understand the way the gravels and the alluvium got concentrated, reconcentrated, then all of a sudden at once, out of the ordinary, an occurrence happened and reconcentrated them in a completely different way, because it wasn't wave action anymore in storms that were making long, linear deposits against the beach. Now we have a flow heading from the south to the north, a current all in one direction, all at one time. Basically turned the whole Great Basin into a giant sluice box, and all the natural formations became obstructions and became natural riffles, like natural riffles in a sluice box. So when we get back over on the other area where I mine, I will show you the difference, and it's very easy. It's a little complicated, but it's pretty simple also, in that the gold, the same thing that created the soil conditions, that created the vegetation, the same action is what concentrated the gold. So there's going to be areas that are going to be rich in gold and areas that are barren of gold. And there's going to be areas that are rich in thick in one type of vegetation and lack another. There's going to be places where no grass will grow, but trees will, or vice versa. In other words, the botany, the plant life, kind of tells a story about where the gold is. So thanks for watching, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me. And I'm going to be talking more about the redeposit of these alluvial gravels, and what plants you want to look for, and what conditions you want to look for to find the highly concentrated alluvium, what they call the secondary alluvium. Thanks for watching. I'll see how long I can hang on to this camera before I gotta put it away. We'll take a little bit different way out of here. I'm kind of way up out of the bottom. It's a little easier walking, but yeah, pretty rough ground. I'll tell you what, the elk and the deer like it back here. There's a sign, lots of sign all over. Here's another cool spot. The rock has just been worn away for years, thousands of years. Good to be above that one. I did good. I made it quite a ways up here with able to carry the camera. And here's another one of these. When the water level was different. See, only 5,000 years ago. This water had a little gutter to flow down through. And look at that little basin, little channel where that was the main flow for some years, and rocks tumbling down it just scoured it and smoothed it and polished it and made it what it is. Here's another spot that was water came up. You can see right where it flew up on the side here and fell in. Flew off the top back when this was the bottom of the creek. So I have definitely found gold here. I have panned in the bottom of this. I have taken samples home. I have sampled it and found gold. And we are on the edge of a mining district. I'm not that far from my mining operation, but I'm on a different mountain range. Well, a different part of the mountain range. And where I dug is I dug a really deep hole right here. You know, and I brought water up here. I trucked water and worked by hand, but didn't have very good results. Look at that. You thought this video was over, huh? So did I. Okay, back out, safe and sound, happy. Beautiful place. If I had more ability, I'd like to climb up there and just for the view, but not a real wise thing to do out here by myself. But that would be a cool view to get up a little higher up there and just get the panoramic view from clear over there to clear over here. Yeah, you see that trail marker? The government knows about this place. Nobody comes in here. The government's been here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had trail cams set up because of all the archaeological stuff down there that they don't want people removing or messing with. So they definitely monitor this place. But the trail, there you can tell it never gets used. Nobody knows about it. Not very well known, but it is BLM ground and a BLM trail. No motorcycles, no bicycle, you can only hike, no horses. I mean, it's a sensitive area. All right, I'll go back and see if we can work those results. And one more of those little barrel cactus for my mom. She loves seeing those. And my Aunt Dottie, she thinks they're cool. I don't think they'll grow in Wisconsin, Aunt Dottie. They're really hard to extract when they're like this. What a cool little natural